brothers. Grant Fisher again doing the low fives. Grant is quite a personality. Really enjoyed his interviews today, and these low fives are really quite exciting. Hopefully, we can get him on the NXN show, Paul.
Well, when you do low fives from the American record holder in 5,000, when you are on a fast course, everyone's going to try to do a low five today if they can over the course of the next 5,000 meters as we're set for racing here in Cary, North Carolina. The final championship race of the second weekend of our live coverage on runnerspace.com. And the runners are underway. Nike Cross Regionals Southeast in 2023.
Given the conditions out on the course, Paul, I think a low 16-minute finish could very much be in the offing. Valio ran that 14:40. That's hoofing it. All the races today have been extremely fast. Just pretty ideal on there, except as you point out, some of the dust that's kicked up by the leaders that can get into your respiratory channel. But aside from that, you can't ask for better conditions.
So to see the crowd lined up to welcome them into the wooded area here adjacent to the soccer park, and this will be the first stretch of racing, and it is pretty much all into the woods for the first mile, as they will not see the same part of the course really more than once. And we'll see how this race unfolds on the girls' side, as we had a pretty good strong peloton of leaders on the boys' side till the latter stages of the race, Tom. But I'm always struck by how these races can be in the same place at the same time and be two completely different races.
Very true, very true. And when you look at who the kickers might be in this one, well, Eliana Black is a 2:10.78 800-meter runner. So I would be fearing her kick a little bit. But again, this is somebody, a sophomore, competing for IMG Elite who has only one race this year. I've been a little bit nervous about this race, Paul, maybe more so than any of the other regionals that I've called, because there's just so many unknowns with some of these athletes. And so I've been on the edge of my seat thinking about this one. Very much a lot of intrigue.
Well, some intrigue here as we have the early coverage from high above, so not able to identify any of the athletes here in the early going. We'll have one of our cameras on the ground here pick them up shortly and try to quickly identify some of the leaders. And again, a 2-kilometer split will update the individual standings and the team results. You see Wilmington getting listed there, led by Abby Downing, as that is one of the teams figuring prominently into the team discussion here in 2023. But nearing 2.5 minutes in, beautiful day for running inside that forested area in Cary, North Carolina, and set to pick up here the leaders shortly from the ground.
Paul, we should see the 2K split in about 6:35. You mentioned Abby Downing, a sophomore who's just kind of emerged on the scene this year, second in the Delaware Division II. But I also want to say from this vantage point with the drone, course narrows down, and the Ruiz brothers really made a point of it. Very hard to maneuver when it's this narrow. So you've got to get into good position right from the start.
So bib 264 is Caroline Hood up there among the leaders. Single file are the leaders here in the early going, Tom.
Paul, number 396, Allie Zeeland, just surged into the lead and looked really good doing it. It only took her a couple strikes to just eat up the distance there. So I think when we get the shot from overhead, clearly Allie Zeeland looks very, very strong in the early going.
Hold that camera position here so you can see, if you can find one of the athletes you've tuned in to watch. You can see some of the athletes trying to find solid footing to run here. Again, very dry, and as a result of that, maybe a little bit of sort of dry slickness, I would call it, Tom, as you're trying to find footing. There's been a lot of races happening over the last couple of hours, and so the conditions are very different here in the latter stages of the competition day.
Well, very good point. And we saw yesterday, after 12 races, the championship races come up and the course is completely sloppy in Arizona. And all the more impressive when Daniel Simmons is just 2 seconds off the course record, having to maneuver around all the slop. And we get a good look at Allie Zealand right now. And as I mentioned before, Paul, she just took off. This one is an Irene like Riggs like performance potentially.
Tula Fabush back there in third, the Kentucky 3A runner-up running in the bright yellow, and the rest of the field now in tow. You can see that dust kicking up pretty good as more feet hit this stretch of the race course. They'll come out of the woods momentarily and emerge for the first mile split of the race. But as you mentioned, yeah, Zealand right at that point, maybe when they finally saw our cameras down there on the race course, decided, hey, here's a good time to move.
Probably so. Probably so. But she's the most experienced runner. And anytime you can get to an NXR and have an international level competitor like Allie Zealand, that's a pretty exciting thing. She is a 212.66 800 runner, 425.83 for 1500, 10:17.71 2-mile runner. And she was the 6th woman on that U.S. bronze medal team of the under-20 championships. But keep in mind, that's an under-20 championships, and she's, what, 16 or 17 years old at that time. So that's really impressive running. And this is an Irene Riggs-like gap. So we are seeing something that is virtually the same as what we saw last year, Paul.
Great shot from high above. You can see that distance that has emerged out of that surge by Allie Zealand. So the senior from Virginia right now in control of this race as we expect them to come through 2K here momentarily as they're alongside both the start line and that forested area that they just emerged out of, and we'll get to reset. She's going over the timing mats now, so we'll see an official time here of 6:28.8, and we'll wait to see what that delta is between her and the rest of the field. As second place now has just come through, Reagan Gilmore of Derby City Athletic Club's 13.3 seconds behind, with Caroline Hood, Reese Dalton, and Tula Fabush making up that top 5. Hannah Ray Schaefer in 6th, Maddie Gardner in 7th, Morgan Boonshaft in 8th, Elena Pierce in 9th, and Evelyn Rogers of the Roadrunners, the senior, is currently in 10th. There are the times now that populate the board, but look at the delta between the leader, Zealand, and the rest of the field.
Well, and she's not slowing down any bit, Paul. Her tempo is outstanding, great turnover, and long strides with great turnover. Well, that makes a championship level distance runner. On the team side, no surprise there. Wilmington, Derby City, and Raleigh Catholic right now, 1, 2, 3, and those were the 3 teams we kind of expected to be right there in the hunt for the team battle. I will say this, we're going to have a pretty good race for second place between Gilmore, Hood, Dalton, Falbish, and Hannah Ray Schaefer. But given the pedigree of one Allie Zealand, I think this one is pretty much in the books, at least for first place, Paul. Now, the only question is, can she break 16:30? And also, we saw something like this with Rachel Forsyth last week. It'd be interesting to see when you get 2 regional winners like that go head-to-head, what the strategy would be like at the NXN Championships. Because if they're so used to running so far out ahead of their competition, you wonder what happens when they get together to have to race each other head-to-head.
Well, Tom, it's always hard to see from the vantage point of a straightaway shot just how much time there is between the leader and the rest of the field. One thing you note here is that it is, as you mentioned, a really good, solid group of girls battling for that second place. And a reminder for those of you following the qualification process to Nike Cross Nationals, it's the top 5 individuals not associated with a team that advances. So placing very important here, and more than 5 girls clearly part of that next group behind the leader, Zealand.
It will be a very exciting race for second. That much is for sure. But Allie Zealand just, looks so smooth, so effortless. We should be seeing, Paul, about a 10:30 or maybe 10:35, 10:40 for 3,200 for Zealand. I've also noticed there is, especially in this position where we have the hard camera, there is a little bit of trouble with the footing in that area. You know, there are some rocks on the course that you have to be very careful about. And there is just a little bit of tentative footing in some areas of the course. You still got to be careful, even though it's not wet like it was last year. It still presents its own set of problems.
So back into the woods goes Allie Zeeland for the last trip into this forested area before she emerges out into the open, and will close in on a Nike Cross Regional Southeast title, assuming that lead she has now continues to hold. The battle behind her for those top individual places, and also the battle for the team title, maybe having a little bit more intrigue than Zealand's breakaway race so far here in 2023, but still about a kilometer or so in the woods before they emerge and have that last stretch to the finish line.
Well, Wilmington should be very proud of their performance here today. Uh, Abby Downen, and by the way, Allie Zeeland didn't really let up much, Paul. 10:40 for the 3200. So she is really hoofing it. But Wilmington is doing a marvelous job on the team side, just really opening up a tremendous margin over Raleigh Catholic and Derby City. Still looking at about 16:40 for a finish, and now the results populating a bit. Reese Dalton now in second, but 22 seconds behind Zeeland.
Gilmore in third, Caroline Hood in fourth. As you see those top times populate on the left side of your screen, Boone, Schaff, Gardner, Fawbush, and Schaefer. Those green arrows on the far right denote they have moved up from the previous placing at the 2K split, and conversely, the red arrows showing that they've dropped back from their previous placings. But right now, Zeeland with a comfortable margin here in that battle, what looks like, from 13th down to about 9th position. Still some time and some opportunity to move up here. As you see the athletic course tracker too, you can see where they are out on the course. They'll come up to that adjacent area where they ran that first mile in the woods, but right now they're going straight through the woods, trying to get themselves into this last mile of the race and on to the finish line.
And this is one of the few spots down below where you have a bit of an uphill, a bit of undulation on the course. One thing that I'm a bit surprised, Paul, Eliana Black, nowhere. She's in 32nd place, and that's a bit of a surprise for the young lady that was 8th here last year and was the first freshman finisher. So that is kind of a surprise. Other than that, it's been a fairly formful race. Derby City seems to be moving up on the team side, but there's still a lot of tabulations that have to be done there.
Yeah, Reagan Gilmore, the top runner for Derby City. And if you remove the two unattached athletes from the field, she's the first runner across as it reflects the team standings right now. No sign of Wilmington, so we'll await the updated team scores there. You can see Derby City's spread of 62 seconds right now, as Zeeland continues to work her way through the wooded area, and the rest of the field joins her here in the latter stages of this 5K championship race on the girls' side.
Yeah, and the question definitely on the team side is, where is Wilmington? Now they show up, but I would wait a little bit. According to the data, they've dropped 7 positions just in that last 1.2 kilometers. So let's wait and see. It always is a while to shake things out on these results, but nothing to shake out when it comes to Allie Zeeland in our top box there. Just looking so smooth, so relaxed. Terrific running mechanics, Paul.
Well, 14 minutes on the clock, so closing into the final stages of this race. She will emerge from the wooded area and have all kinds of crowd alongside the race course to bring her home. And, we thought after that amazing stunning and dominant performance by Irene Riggs a year ago, that maybe this race in 2023 would be a bit more competitive. But Allie Zealand is continuing the trend here of dominant performances on this Cary, North Carolina cross-country race course, closing in on a 2023 regional victory.
Yes, indeed. And, hats off to Reagan Gilmore for the job that she's doing for Derby City. Reagan Gilmore, third 2 years ago, and the first sophomore in this race, dropped to 16th last year. And now she's got a chance to possibly finish second in this race. So kudos to her. Reese Dalton, also the senior, finally won a Virginia Division II championship after finishing second for 3 years. This has got to be gratifying for Reese Dalton to be also amongst the top group booking passage to Portland, Oregon in that Glendevere course.
Nearing 15 and a half minutes on the clock here. Just a little bit more racing as Zealand has emerged from the woods and alongside the start line area and making a turn here for home shortly.
And she's going to finish in a really good time here, somewhere in the neighborhood of 16:30 to 16:40. But you can't even see the second. Oh, now you can. At the very, very top of the screen, you can see the second placed runner. Just a remarkable, this is a tough region, and she just lays waste to the competition.
Well, the Southeast region gave us our individual champion at NXN last year, Irene Riggs, buoyed by a dominant performance here in Cary, North Carolina, continued that dominance on the Glendevere Golf Course, cross-country course in Portland, Oregon, and now emerging into the final chute, Allie Zealand is going to send a similar message to the rest of the country in one of our dominant performances so far at Nike Cross Regionals. She is the Southeast champion.
Well done. It's not the easiest thing in the world, Paul, to be leading from about 500 meters and being able to have no one around you. It's hard running. It's hard to run by yourself, but she did a magnificent job. The time, 16:34, right where we thought she would be. Really outstanding performance. She doesn't look the worse for wear.
And here's Reese Dalton finishing up as she crosses the line, equally as excited as Zealand as she punches her ticket to Portland as the second place finisher. Then Reagan Gilmore is also thinking about team prospects as well. Maddie Gardner. Here comes Caroline Hood and Hannah Ray Schaefer. Schaefer in that sixth position because Gilmore, Tom, might make it on the individual side, or excuse me, on the team side. That opens up the door for someone like Hannah Ray Schaefer to make it on the individual side as one of the top 5 individuals not associated with the team.
Indeed, and what's interesting about Hannah Ray Schaefer, Paul, is she was the first 9th grade finisher in 21, the first 10th grade finisher in 22, and this year she's the first 11th grade finisher in 2023. So a nice performance. She replicates her 6th place finish from last year. You had said youth has been served in almost all the other regional races we've seen. Yes, that is the case. In this one, among the top 10 runners, only one, Schaefer, is an underclass woman.
Well, the rest of the field coming to the line in that battle for the top 2 team spots at Nike Cross Regionals Southeast, as those scores will populate our screen here momentarily as the groups get through. But now let's hear from our winner, Allie Zealand, who's with Grant Fisher at the finish line in Cary.
All right, thank you guys. We're out here on the course. I'm with the girls champion, an absolutely dominant performance. I couldn't watch the whole race, but I looked around the corner and there was no one around you for probably 100 meters. Walk me through what was going through your head.
Yeah, well, I was not really thinking that I was going to win, but in the first mile, I found myself in the top few, and then I felt so good that I just took it, and I just kept feeling good and pushing it, and then was able to take it all the way through. So just so thankful that I felt good today and for such an awesome race.
Nice, and you know, it's a long season. This is postseason now. You had your state meet. I know you're coming out and racing people from the whole region. Is there any intimidation, or are you coming in full confidence? What's the feeling going in?
I was a little nervous, not really though. I know there's so many good girls here, and I was just so excited to race them, and I have so many friends out on the course today, and it was just a great time. I was feeling confident going in, and that really helped. So
that is a fantastic attitude to have. You ran great today. You've got the big dance coming up in Portland, Oregon coming up. That'll be early December. I know you just finished the race. It's probably one thing at a time, but I'm sure your sights are now set on NXN. What are your thoughts going into that?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've seen that there's been a lot of good competition going into it, and I can't wait to just have a new opportunity to race. And I'm feeling good and so excited to go into that. So.
Awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck. I think it'll be a little less dusty than today, but I think you'll be well prepared. This is a hilly course, and you did great. So good luck out there. Look forward to seeing you crush it.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, Grant. Some thoughts from Allie Zealand as she looks ahead now to Nike Cross Nationals. We still see these racers coming through. We think maybe, Tom, we had some data issues out in the forested area because of Wilmington sort of disappearing from the top of the list, but they are back where they belong at the top of the list. What are your final thoughts as you look at those team scores and as well just the overall competition day here in Cary?
A couple things. Abby Downen did a great job for Wilmington. She finished 11th. She was the top sophomore finisher, but Wilmington really packed them in 5, 6, 7, 8 on the adjusted scores, and they're going to have a romp really over Derby City and Spartans. The other quote I loved from Allie Zealand: I was a little nervous. Not really. I love that. She was thinking about that. You know what? No, I wasn't nervous. I knew I was going to win this thing. But a great performance by Allie Zealand. Wonderful performance by Wilmington Cross Country. And I can't wait for Allie Zealand and Rachel Forsyth to go at it mano a mano in a couple of weeks. So that's my final thoughts, Paul. One more final thought. Love working with you. Great job by the runnerspace team all day long. You're such a professional, and really appreciate everything.
Thanks, Tom. Looking forward to working with you through the remainder of the regionals schedule. And let me add my kudos as well to our production team. Heroic work over the course of the last 2 days with regionals yesterday and today. Different technical challenges based on weather conditions and course changes as it related to the Southwest. And they did a phenomenal job bringing the sights and sounds and scores to you at each and every regional. Reminder, all of the race coverage on demand, available almost immediately on runnerspace.com. You can also look back on some of those aforementioned races, like Rachel Forsyth's win at Laverne Gibson in Indiana back last weekend, and our opening weekend of coverage at Nike Cross Regionals Midwest. We still have regionals to come on the holiday weekend. Next Saturday, we'll be up in Wappingers Falls, New York, as they will have both the Northeast and the New York region back-to-back on Saturday morning, and we'll be close to filling those fields for Nike Cross Nationals, which will come your way live here on Runner Space, free to everyone who wants to tune in for that national championship event in 2023 from Glendoveer Golf Course in Portland. Final few athletes coming into the finish line. Congratulations to each and every athlete that competed today as they wrap up, for many, their cross-country campaign, and thoughts turn to less dustier conditions indoors for track and field as the winter season commences here in short order. Some of the early events already starting to occur in the Northeast at places like the New York Armory, and events that you can see here with your Plus subscription on runnerspace.com. But today's action highlighted by a dominant performance by Allie Zealand of Lynchburg, Virginia. International experience on this course, and she experiences a wonderful sunny run through the park here in Cary and picks up the victory in Nike Cross Regionals Southeast in 2023. Spectacular vista here, spectacular colors as fall takes grip in this North Carolina region. And there are the official results of the team race. Top two teams automatically advancing to Nike Cross Nationals. It'll be Wilmington as Delaware returns a team for the first time since 2012, and Derby City will be going as well, finishing in second. Let's hear from the victors from Delaware with Grant Fisher.
All right, thank you guys. We're out here back at the course. This is final race of the day. I'm here with the girls champion team. Absolutely crushed the field. How does it feel to you guys? Did you know that you had the win in the bag, or was it way after you crossed the finish line that you knew?
I mean, kind of like going into this, we know we were seeded to win, so we were like fairly confident that we would at least make it to the next stage. But you know, the win's never guaranteed, so we definitely went out. When I crossed the line, I had no idea if we won though. I was really scared. I was like, please, because I was fifth girl in.
Yeah.
So I was like, don't let this be my fault.
You can never be like too confident, or else you won't succeed. So going into this, we all had the same mindset of if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's okay. We're not guaranteed the win, but if we put our hearts out, we know we could do it.
That's a great attitude to have. One question, this course is a little different than the one that you'll be facing in a few weeks out in Portland. Tell me how the dust was. Was the dust a factor? Is it still in your mouth? Were you guys throwing up? What was the deal?
It's in my eyes. Still,
Yeah. I actually didn't notice it that bad, but it was very dusty around me, I would say. But I don't know about you guys, but it was pretty bad.
All right, yeah, well, hey, congratulations on today. You got the big race coming up. Have you been there before?
No.
All right, well, first time. Any nerves? I know it's one step at a time, but now your sights must be set on NXN. You guys excited, nervous? What are the feelings?
So excited. I'm so excited. I don't think we've processed it so much right now that we can be nervous for it, especially because none of us has been there before.
Yeah.
So, in a week probably, but right now it's just all excitement.
Totally, that's a great attitude to have, and hey, if you're successful here, you'll do well in Portland. So congratulations. Look forward to seeing you guys out on the West Coast. So go get them.
Thank you.
Yeah.